Testing, testing, 1, 2. Testing, testing, 1, 2. Hey, all right, everybody, check this out. I don't do celebrity news, but if I see a teachable moment, I will throw a teachable moment in there because I guess this on Say Cheese was going viral and it was talking and showing how, and again, I have not verified, I don't know these people. I like some Summer Walker's music. I haven't heard anything I haven't liked, and I haven't done a deep dive, but from what I know, but I guess these are producers and people who worked on the album who are now washing dishes. And I'm going to pause it right there because never, never, never is it to shame anybody, but let's have an honest conversation about the music industry, Hollywood, and the illusion of success. I have done PR consulting, started as a journalist, award shows, from BET Awards to, was it the Dove Awards? I know I did the Stellas, but I mean, we just, you just do awards. I got, badges and everything. And, and people who know, they know it. I'm behind the scenes, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm just, I say all that to say I'm not like a passerby, just somebody. And not saying that I'm a big shot either. But, Hollywood, yeah, this is typical because what you see online is not what is happening behind the scenes. Multiple social media discussions have gone viral showing songwriters and producers connected to major artists, and Summer Walker is just one of them. And this is showing them working regular jobs, dishwashing, It used to be in music, you had to, they say be homeless or be a waiter or something like that to be an actor. And, Summer Walker is not the only one. I guess there's others. But people think, how can someone work on platinum level music and still struggle financially? And what I do now as consultant and a business manager is I have to break that down for clients because they don't know. This is their first success in a lot of what they do, and they haven't been around, and you start getting I don't even call it the big head. I'll call it, you start seeing a side of you that you didn't know, and you start seeing checks that you never knew that you could have. And when I put on my CFSW, that's my Certified Financial Social Work Advisor hat, you got to show compassion because everybody has made money mistakes. Maybe some are worse than others, but what it tells you is our financial literacy, especially coming out of high school, even coming out of college, it's not there. Most people think the visibility equals wealth, that these people's nice cars, homes, trips, even if you're not famous and you're able to take some of that stuff, people think, oh man, they must be wealthy. Most people think credit equals ownership. Oh man, they rented that house. There was a YouTuber, and I don't know if I showed it because I really don't care, but he was showing a house and here in South Florida, and it had like the real estate sign, like the rental sign on the back. He probably didn't even know. And it's like, people lease homes, they buy homes. A lot of people who buy homes will never own their homes, unfortunately. People refi, but most people think talent equals security. And these producers and different people, they thought their talent was going to take them far for life, and that whatever checks they were getting when they were working with, whatever artist it is, that it was going to stay that way in the checks. YouTubers, TikTokers, be aware, this money can dry up, and it will dry up. The music industry, Hollywood, entertainment, this is structured around ownership, publishing, and leverage, not talent. And I want to break that down. So when an artist releases a hit, or a YouTuber goes viral and gets success, or when an athlete signs the contract, I mean, we handle these people at CPRfirm.com. When that happens and there's hits, hit videos, hit music, There are multiple layers of people involved. The face of the song, the songwriter, the producer, the engineer, the label, the publisher, the distributor, the videographer, the manager, the road manager. I'm just going off top with the freestyle. But there's a lot of people to get paid. You know, you got to pay ads online, no matter what you do. You got to pay DJs, payola. You got to pay promoters and promo. It's a lot of people to pay. So even if, let's say, using Summer Walker as an example, made $1 million off that song that one producer worked on, or they worked on one album and she made, $1 million. What did you negotiate? Who did you reach out to negotiate for you? Because it's all love in the studio. It's all love until you get busted. And you might have to get another job. For all you know, Summer Walker her other jobs might be walkthroughs of clubs, doing music in movies, because the music, she might have ate all that money up. And many artists do. And, it's easy to do. And so that's why my question is, who owns the publishing? Who owns the masters? Who negotiated the back end points? Who structured the deal correctly? And when you don't go get somebody like CPRfirm.com, my company, and a team that's been doing it, you get sometimes what you get where you have to go work. If you write on a hit song, but you don't control any publishing, your upside down can be capped. If you're a producer and you get a track and do not negotiate it properly, you can be paid once while others collect for decades. Where are your points at, player? This is not about talent. This is about management. Yeah, it's about management. How do you manage yourself versus somebody who that's all that they do? They read the books, they go to the conferences, they've been in the game maybe longer than you. And you don't have to be there longer than somebody, but you need to know. Remember when Elvin, again, never to shame anyone, Jeffrey Owens, when he was someone took a picture. People say caught, right? They took a picture of him at Trader Joe's. Was it was cashiering or bagging, whatever. He played Elvin, I think 7 or 8 seasons. And he goes viral for somebody really evading a space. It's not illegal, but he goes viral for working. This is a Yale-educated actor, Ivy League, part of one of the most iconic sitcoms in history, and I'm still rocking with it. They try to take it off, I'll buy the whole season. Buy all the seasons, eventually. But people laughed at somebody bagging groceries. And you know what? The people bagging groceries might have laughed at him bagging groceries. Now, some people say, man, he went to Yale. He went to Yale. He didn't have a friend who could get him a job. We don't know what was going on in that man's life. And we don't know if he wanted to just be, chilling. If he wanted to just communicate with his community. We don't know what that man wanted to just, maybe he was method acting, preparing for a role. I know some people said that, but that's not the point. The point is, let's say people are messed up and they need money. And he later on and said, he was teaching acting, but the bills weren't lining up. And it's not, I don't even want to go into just the job shaming again. But more of, you need proper teams to make the dream. You need lawyers. ChatGPT can't tell you the nuances of the law. You need managers, experienced. And, it's okay to give somebody a shot all day, but It's like buying your house. If you're going to try to do it yourself or with a new real estate agent, maybe you want to get a second opinion too. Because you could go to Yale, you could be on a hit show, you can have platinum award-winning songs, and what we find out, and this is nothing new, you could ask Red Fox, may they rest in peace, James Brown. Folks weren't there were just so many people who have missed the mark in Hollywood. The majority of the people, even the people you see on TV now on these reality shows, rented homes. They still not own it, still haven't learned. Doesn't matter what genre of music. I know Mexican artists. I know European artists, football players through Africa. They have homes, but they don't have any more income coming in and they get nervous. You got to know how the system works. You got to know the education that you don't have and why you get a team. Don't get somebody who rips people off. I know somebody one time they told me, older gentleman, and now he's a big YouTuber. And he said, so this is what you want, for the fee. What happens when we start making $2 million? And I told him, we come to that when we come to that because it could still be the same price. I might not be doing but so much for you and build out a team. So it's about purpose more than the profit. And that's cost me money. I know. But I'd rather do that and be righteous and not sell out, not have to sell my soul, and make sure anybody I work with, if they do leave, they leave better. And that's okay. No tell-all stories. This social media has people messed up. It got a lot of us messed up. Everybody is traveling, even if they just go down the street. New outfit, new city. Nobody knows. Everyone's popping bottles, even them bottles are full of water. Everyone is in the studio. Everyone is on the yacht. Everybody is booked and busy. But behind the filters, many creatives are cash poor, asset poor. You teachers, you're richer than them. Y'all are better savers, says the Dave Ramsey book anyway. But even you working at Jiffy Lube, some of y'all are richer than them. You have people like Grant Cardone saying they have borrowed almost $1 billion or $1 billion in debt. And that's a different game that most people won't be able to play. But something happens and someone calls their bet, somebody got to pay. Maybe it's not Grant. Maybe it's his kids. Maybe it's the grandkids. John Hope Bryant and others have always said first generation makes the money, second generation spends it, and the third generation loses it. Older than John Hope Bryant. Not calling him old or anybody old, but it's older. It's older. There's research behind it too. Ask the Vanderbilts. Ask them. So you being in debt, it's better to go get another skill, go get another trade. I'm in school right now. You guys see if you follow me. I'm telling you, social work is for us, especially if you want to help. And men, they need more men, and Black men need more men who speak other languages, Swahili, Spanish, French, need more men. So, I follow Dave Ramsey. We follow Jesus. We follow Dave Ramsey because he's helped so many get out of debt. But we got to structure things better. And that's one thing that my company, I really like that. You know what? I might not have what I know some of my other people I know have, but I sleep at night really nice. I sleep really nice. And that if my people listen, they won't be broke. If my really successful people listen, they will be rich, at least in retirement. They'll be rich. They'll be wealthy. Some of them, What do y'all see? What do y'all see? Is 20 million enough, or you got to have a billion? But some people could get there, and their retirement might be up to 120. That's a lot of years of compounding, Warren Buffett style. But there's a problem I'm finding with no ownership, no recurring revenue, no publishing leverage, no investment plan. You got no management structure protecting long-term upside down. And this is where you guys keep getting it wrong. And you keep leaning on your own understanding, which is not a biblical principle. You think the solution is to work more. Work harder. I'm gonna double down. Now, we saw people, Steve Harvey, they say was $20 million in debt, and he worked himself for years into something, where I believe he said there's a surplus, but there's also, Millionaire 𝐿𝐿 that you can get on. Now, one creative often signs one deal without understanding the math. That's what I've seen, at least. 2, talking about mistakes. 2, they underestimate how long it takes to see back end money. 3, they overestimate that lifestyle. Oh, yeah. How many cars do you need? 10 cars, and one of them is a Ferrari? Man. One of them is a G-Wagon? Is this cribs or is this real life? Because I've sat in big $1 million, multi-million-dollar homes with people who could afford all that, and they didn't have all that. 4, they do not build teams that prioritize their wealth and building over some short-term exposure. Especially teams that want you to be around your family, take family vacations. 5, many are surrounded by yes men, by yes women who benefit from their talent but are not invested in their long-term financial health. You went to dinner with your girlfriends, ladies, and your girlfriend ordered more food to take to her man. Really do that at the nice restaurant. So I got to take this back to you fill in the blank. These are real life stories. This ain't what I think. This is what I know. You got people trying to pay, their starting salary when they start to get some money, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to their kids for something that AI has already replaced or somebody on Fiverr has. The kids ain't even passionate about it because it don't keep them up at night. But we're trying to do right by our kids. We're trying to give them everything that we didn't have. I think TD Jakes, I know TD Jakes preach. We need to give them some of what we did have. And y'all, and I'm just going to go on the soapbox. You need management. You need that real management. Management that negotiates your equity. Management that structures your publishing splits properly. Let you know, man, get out of this MCN deal. We ain't even doing nothing for you. Give me that money and let's keep rocking. They taking what? 30%. Some of y'all have had them taking half. And we've gotten some of y'all out of them deals for over a decade, experienced in this. We popping collars. Management that understands that your hit today, it must fund your freedom tomorrow. That means we got to save this money. Let's put it up. You got another hit in you. Come on. Let's put $1 million in VTSAX. Vanguard's total stock. They put $1 million in something more than what you're wearing and what you're eating. It all comes out at the end anyway. That's why serious talent, they need serious strategy. They need serious management. And that's why you need great management like Coleman Public Relations and Consulting Firm, CPRfirm.com for short. Because the goal is not just to be known, the goal is to be paid repeatedly. And not just paid, but protected. Even your mama, your daddy, they after your check. No matter what the talent is, you could be in dressage. You know, the horses that be dancing and prancing around. But, you know, what I also want to make sure and clear, and I'm going to go back to this picture, this video, and just let it, I don't even know if I ever played it to the end because she looked pissed. But being a dishwasher is not a shameful job. Being a grocery bagger or a cashier is not a shameful job. If you got all the money you ever needed right now, you might say, you know what, let me go back to being a dishwasher or working cashier. And if you had the money, you'd say, you know what, maybe I want to open up my own. I just want to learn a skill set for later. I've been a dishwasher before. I've been a cashier before. Been a waiter before. Cleaned oil pipe. Drove, you know, chemicals that could blow you up if they mix wrong in the oil field. While trying to get to this right here. It ain't even where, you know, you fully want to be. Because we all want to be further. Summer Walker want to have 10, 12, you know, Grammy Awards, you know. And so, let's not shame an honest job because it's honorable. The issue is not the job. The issue for me is the structural imbalance. The issue for me is if you help create intellectual property that generates millions and you're still financially unstable, you structured your deal wrong, baby. And most creatives do not even realize how the structure works until it's too late. They haven't read the books. There's books on the entertainment industry. I wrote one on the Christian entertainment industry. That is why education and finance matters. That is why understanding contracts matter. You didn't even take the SAT, but you trying to read the contract and think ChatGPT. ChatGPT is only as smart as thee. It's only as smart as you. It only knows what you put it in. And then it helps you lay things out. But, you know, whether we're at AGI, no one is saying we're at ASI. So you got to make, it's just like, you know, what you put into your kids. If you ain't got no good game, you can't put no good game into your kids. You got to have knowledge. You got to have tools. Tools matter. And you got to build assets outside your talent. And you can. You just got to build teams. And if you're serious about protecting your upside down, again, go to Millionaire X. Make a plan. Even if it's a free plan. Play around with the games that we have. You need to understand that cash flow. You need to understand how to eliminate debt. You need to understand the investment strategy. You need to understand your taxes, your ownership structures, your intellectual property. You need to understand you can go overseas as well and do the same thing. And a lot of talent have to do that because when they get cold here, you go overseas, but you got to have an overseas team for that. We help you at CPRfirm.com. I know it sounded like a commercial, but I wasn't doing this just to do it. I'm doing it because a lot of my life, a lot of my work is based on helping people. But you got to reach out if you want to be helped. I'm not at the club looking for talent. Not anymore. Thank God. You got to have management and a manager that has some knowledge. And if we're not a good fit, I'll lead you to somebody who I think, oh, this person might be a good fit for you for various reasons. AI is changing production, as you see on this site right here. I built that with AI. I thank Wealthy Vibes for helping me put some structure to it. I thank people around me, loved ones, for telling me, nah, it's not good yet. Hey, you got games on there? I've said this in other podcasts or other episodes, shows, whatever you want to call this. AI is changing songwriting, videos, movies. It's changing distribution. It's changing. You get AI text from me if you call me and I don't pick up. Book a time just for, You got AI calls. You can't even get some people. I tried to call Hertz the other day. You got to go through, so much of AI qualified prompts at a certain time. I was at Popeyes the other day. The manager said after his order, everybody got to go to the kiosk and you go take a break. That was right in Royal Palms on the border of Wellington. AI is changing that. Everybody get on the kiosk. Kiosk wasn't working for me. So that's why I went to the front. But I saw everybody getting on there. Kiosks only give you certain things at certain times. Man, we in the future is blessed. But if everyone can create now, only those who scale will win long term. Only those who build teams and can replicate themselves. That means creatives must evolve from performers into business architects. You guys might say brands, but I'm going to say business architects because some of y'all think, oh, I got a product and that I have a brand. No, you don't have a brand. But come over, book some time. Even those who want to teach will teach you because some of you guys sound, kind of foolish like sovereign citizens in court. Now, stop thinking like hired help. Stop thinking like, I need you to start thinking like shareholders. You aren't the hired help. Stop that. But the shareholders. Summer Walker has a brand. But the people behind the scenes must also protect themselves and get them a brand, whether it's in the videography, whether it's in being a gaffer, whatever it is, a speech writer. You got to brand yourself, and we can help you with that. You cannot depend on being invited back into the room because when people go to a next level, sometimes they don't reach back for various reasons. You need catalog ownership. You need royalty audits. I would always tell artists this, even when I was a journalist. Got my start with Explosive Magazine out of Pittsburgh, California. And also Groove Line, when I went to Grambling, gave me a shot. So I always thank Ron Hood from Explosive and Eric Robinson for giving me, different shots with their different brands. They understood ownership. But I would see artists and they, were hot. Universal signed them back when Universal, Sony, all of them were signing everybody. But then they got shelved. And then a year, 2, 5, 6, sometimes over a decade, call back and say, man, you were always cool. There was something about you in that industry. Hey, man, I got shelved. This happened, that happened. I'm trying to get on. Can you put me on? I'm busted. I'm broke. I don't have any money. Don't ask me for any money. Even $50. Don't ask me for that. I've had artists tell me they wanted me exclusively for $50. This was back in the day. I had a house. And they were really asking for it, But you don't want to be shelved. You don't want to have to make all the mistakes you see on the VH1s. If I'm dating myself, that's okay. So the exposure you're learning is not your equity for the most of y'all. Most artists make less than 100,000 for show. Maybe 40, 30,000 if you're blessed and ready to run around and hit the naval bases and everywhere else, doing it for the love. But even if you are building someone else's asset without building your own, you're replaceable. So whether you have one client or 100, so we get you a website, make sure that's tight, you own your domain, you own your name. Because YouTube isn't enough. What happened to MySpace, Black Planet, Yahoo groups? I don't know anybody on those. I think Chris Hansen, when he does his thing, maybe he's on those. But I don't know anybody on those like that. Even Facebook groups, to me, I know I'm part of some, but I have notifications off. I'm not going to see that. Now, I'm thankful I do have people. So sometimes I can have people check things, or I can check it myself because I do have people. And some of those things, might be high school reunion groups you're part of. So they might be, personal, where only you like, that's Clay. Oh, that's David. That's David Tejada. Shout out. Oh, that's his family. But you got to have your brand right and tight. This industry does not owe you anything. And this industry, as you know, is a boo business. The people in it are there to smile in your face all the time, want to take your place. Backstabbers. I hope they don't hit me with a copyright strike. That was so smooth. So I just want to say that to say, protect yourself. You need to read more. You need to build teams. You need to, especially today's time, kids are going to school and don't even know when they do group projects. They don't even know the kid's name. I said, how do you not know the kid's name in your group project? I go to a networking thing. When you do group anything at the table, hey, how you doing? My name is so-and-so. They're not learning that. And even if you're teaching it, are they practicing it? You guys, it's up to us at the end of the day. You check out that Millionaire X. Wealth and character can coexist. Don't let these Epstein files and all the nonsense have you think any different. But you got to be intentional. You got to know talent. It opens doors. Management builds the house, though. But ownership, it keeps it in the family. And that's what we want to be. We want to be family to our people. We don't want to just be, oh, man, have all the people. I've seen companies that have that. And I tell young guys, I say, hey, be careful. Because you got to put so much energy into these people. And Chris Chicago, may he rest in peace and power. He had said, you got to love these people when they aren't having a hit. Because they'll start, once they make some money, they get a house bigger than yours, it's hard to get through to them. But that's just human nature. So you still got to love on people. And that's why, what I do. But yeah, I want to leave y'all with that. I want you not to shame anybody. Don't even shame yourself. Everybody makes mistakes. But are you working to get better? We'll make this a motivational speech on that another time if you want. Hey, you can comment. You can say this, that, the third. If you do want to book time, links are in the description wherever you experience this. This is just that real game what your daddy should have told you. I've been doing like radio since I was probably 18. And it's just so freeing that you can do it on your time when you want to give the game that you want. If people want to hear, if people have an ear to hear, I know I sound like a cartoon out here, but that's or Cat Williams, but that's all good, right? However you sound. So you guys, you can comment, you can like, but share the game with somebody and let them know. Don't get ripped off. I'm a licensed sports agent in the state of Florida. Business AI manager, PR guy, masters in public relations, or NASCOM with an emphasis in cross-cultural communications, But PR is what the focus was. But yeah, man, we'll go hang with the fam. Guys, be blessed out there. Download millionairex.ai. Check out the Diversified Game podcast. Always like, share, and subscribe. Killing Cash.